Hello. This week's episode was a fun one. A bit different, interesting, really interesting. It was my first in-person podcast, so yeah, really, really fun. And I'm delighted to have had it with my pal, my friend, Harry Hudson Taylor. He is a profound musician, formerly from the band Hudson Taylor. Now he is gone solo, making really great music with his partner, Seraphina. Both of them make up a really powerful musical duo. And yeah, we got into all sorts of fun stuff, from the source of creativity itself all the way to spiritual abstractions and the way reality manifests. So yeah, it was a really, really, really fun one for me. And yeah, please check out my mate's Harry's music. He's all over Spotify. He's got a website, harryhudsontaylor.com, and I will leave the information to his social medias here and in the video description. So please give him a follow, help support. He's really, really, really doing good stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
I have developed a good old sugar crush. Every time that I indulge, I get that familiar rush, a rash across my skin, spreading me so thin, I can't help but give in to my heavy feelings. I've been down rabbit holes so deep, they fucked away my mind. I've dug out tunnels in between, where others are so blind. I've laid the lining full of cravings I fucked up. I've walked the aisle and I'm wedded to my gun. Nice. And I sold myself for pleasure, and all I got is pain. I haven't learned the lesson, but I'm trying again and again. You think I'll swallow your lies? What do you take me for? Pull the wool over my eyes. What do you take me for? It comes as no surprise. What do you take me for? Can't pull off that disguise. What do you take me for? Cynicism is insane, and optimists escape. Clearly nobody's to blame, but it fails us all the same. Take the red pill or the blue pill. Life is still in the in-between, in the gray space where the new ones can be seen. You think I swallow your lies? What do you take me for? Pull the wool over my eyes. What do you take me for? It comes as no surprise. What do you take me for? Can't pull off that disguise. What do you take me for? What do you take me for? I've tried fasting, I've tried outlasting all the cravings I have caught. I've tried unteaching, I've tried outreaching, and I'm trying not to start. I've meditated, I've medicated. Now all I really know is this outline, is a silhouette I self-loathe. you take me for? Pull the wool over my eyes. What do you take me for? It comes as no surprise. What do you take me for? You can't pull off that disguise. What do you take me for? Ooh, what do you take me for? Ooh.
Well, that's just about the best cold open you could ask for. Amazing, guys, amazing.
Thank you, buddy.
Such a beautiful duo. So,
Thank you.
Seraphina, Harry,
Yes.
mate, it's good to have you here.
Man, good to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Seraphina, pleasure. You guys have absolutely blown me away with the talent. We went to your gig last night, the
Yeah.
Ruby Sessions,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
and yeah, what a gig.
Your first time leaving the countryside for a while.
It was.
Getting into the big smoke.
I braved in the city, and I made it through. You held my hand, we got there.
I'm going to put away this
Yeah,
jangly guitar.
I take it off you.
Don't want to disturb the sound.
You know, I was gonna try and join in there, but then I was like, oh god, I'm gonna completely derail the whole thing if I do that. No man.
Yeah, it's cool. Thanks for asking us to do that as a song. Like I think it's quite relevant to our connection a little bit. I think, in terms of like we've met each other through internet stuff, and like, I wrote that song quite. Well, Seraphina helped me write it, but it was quite like inspired by living online and like living in this weird alternate space where like you're getting a lot of conflicting information, and some of it feels more real than the stuff that you're supposed to believe is real, kind of thing. Like the worlds of conspiracy theories, like red pill, black pill, white pill, blue pill, whatever. Just these different ways of viewing the world, and the kind of it's kind of a little bit of an angry song for me. I'm kind of like, what do you take me for? As in, like, you think that I'm gonna just take all this information and believe it as, like, you know, be a sheep and just take it all in. And at the same time, also realizing that like it did turn me a bit crazy these last years, and sometimes she's like my grounding force and energy to give. You could give so much context to how much of the rabbit hole has brought me into complete maddening spirals of. See, look, she said nothing.
Yeah. No, look, we've all been there, and you need a yin and yang. You need a grounding outlet. So that's good.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's so many. I mean, you can get swept up in the world of conspiracies and stuff like that, and it is good to have some grounding. But like, what do they take us for? Is a very valid point, right? Because like, I mean, even with the stuff, pick your topic on what to choose. What you know, the stuff that got my interest, or the moon missions and stuff like that. There's a lot of strangeness around that. I won't get too much into that straight off the bat, but
What do you want to talk about today?
well, come here. You guys are big creatives. Like I would consider myself a creative person, but I've kind of mentioned it on the channel a couple of times that over the years I let my creative side be like squashed down through my own type of self-silencing. So in a way, I just love to see your creative outlet being so authentically and unapologetically expressed to the world. Like, that's so cool. I respect that. So what's your creative process in regards to like, do you think that how much of an influence has pain and stuff like this influence your music or at all?
Yeah, big. Yeah. We do a little. I can answer first, and maybe you can answer.
I only ask because my channel is kind of revolves around this kind of alchemization of turning, kind of like trying to better your life through a creative process. You know, turning some lead into gold type of thing.
Sure. So even that song I'm using as an example,
Yeah.
is alchemizing irritation, pain, frustration, anger at the world into something that you can sing, and it has a nice little melody and harmony, and it feels good to sing. So I like. Most music that I've ever created has come from some sort of alchemizing of an emotion that is going on. It can be a little nugget of a feeling, right down to like banal everyday kind of stuff that seems not so important. And then it's almost like, I feel like with creativity, it's like that lensing effect. Like you bring a focus into something that seems like she's really good at this. She'll take something every day and make it into the most beautiful thing. Like poetry does that, you know, like words can transform banality into something profound. And like, not to get too wishy-washy, but like I do love that about music and song and storytelling. It's like, oh wow, I never thought about that thing like that, you know. And yeah, like songwriting as a medium for expression has like multi layers going on, because it's like the melody can tell you a story without even saying any words, right? Or like a certain chord or something, like a minor chord strummed with a certain intention. It's also an intention thing, like, you know, you can sing a song with like a kind of a, you know, with my, it's styling as well. I could dress myself up with an emo haircut and start singing way more punky 2005.
It's a slightly different flavor.
Like it, and it would change the intention of the song, you know.
Dissonance thrown into an ordered structure.
Yeah. What do you think?
So I think that when we think about the arts, we often think, what was the artist trying to communicate? And I don't really see artwork like that. I see when you create, you present a story that is created with the audience. So it's perpetual making. So the meaning of something, whether it's anger or whatever, to me is not absolutely connected to the artwork. It's something that is a collaboration between whoever receives it and whoever makes it. So I don't believe in there being an abstract pain, meaning, trauma behind an artwork, but only giving a narrative as to what brought me to the table in the production process. But for me, I have a very different creative process than Harry, because creativity is my way of processing and understanding the world on a daily basis. So if I am to make meaning of my day, I process it through creativity. So I write every day without fail. And that can be musically, poetically, just keeping a journal. But recently I was spoken about in a way that someone described me as having a higher minimum for meaning, in that I like to participate in the world in a way that I've given meaning to, because I don't believe that there is an absolute meaning to life. I think that our role as beings, entities, not necessarily humans, but everything, is cultivating meaning. Yes. And my form of cultivating meaning is through creativity that isn't just painting, poetry. It's also creating connection, creating experience. And so for the process of taking trauma, that to me is no different from the process of taking joy. It's all the same thing, but it is something that is my daily way of participating in life. So I necessarily will use trauma to process, use trauma or anything, any feeling to bring into my creative process. But it doesn't create any more or less meaning than any other feeling that I have.
Yeah, that makes sense, in the sense that like it is almost the role of the listener to project their own meaning onto it, but to keep it abstract enough for it to fit any mold. But it comes from a sincere place, from either pain or joy, you're saying.
Yeah. And it's not, I understand now, I'm uniquely the beneficiary of being absolutely without self-judgment, which is terrible for editing and trying to make something that people will enjoy, because I'm simply like, it happened, that was the thing that was made and processed, there it is. Whereas Harry will actually go, and now we can make it nice.
So there's actually that thing it's spoken about in music world, of like the type of creator, and the example that's always given is like, are you the two people they use are you a Bob Dylan or a Leonard Cohen? And the whole thing was with Bob Dylan's early life, at least, all the music that he wrote, was this like stream of consciousness, extremely well. I mean, it's very beautifully written poetry, but if you asked him about it, he would always say like, yeah, I don't even know where that came from. Like these 7-minute long poems that were just like, you know? And then Leonard Cohen's thing was he worked on songs, slaved over them famously for years. You know, some of his most famous songs took 10 years to write because he's a perfectionist, but also just that's his way of expressing the art, you know? So she's like, now, then you also have quality, quantity, right? She's like somehow quantity, quality at the same time. It's like,
I
it just
disagree.
keeps,
I'm quite happy to
it
just
keeps
be
coming.
quantity.
It's incredible, you know? I feel like at some point in this podcast, we need to put her into this zone. She can do this incredible thing. And I don't know if you're open to doing that. It's like, is that...
I have no resistance.
Yeah, so
I'll
she'll
push for it.
Yeah, push for it at some point, like as like maybe the ender. Stay tuned, you know.
Okay, all right.
But
Stick to the end of the video.
Yeah, to find out. But no, yeah, we do. We complement each other, I think, in that way, like as creators.
Yeah.
I have a bit more patience to sit with
Yeah.
things and go through it with a fine tooth comb. I wouldn't call myself a perfectionist with other people's stuff, but I would be a bit with my own stuff.
Yeah.
So if she has done loads and loads of writing, I'm really easily able to kind of help her filter it and stuff like that.
I get you, yeah.
If I've done a lot of stuff, I just like get swamped with self-critic, and it takes ages. So in that way, if I have written something, I often give it to Seraphina to help finish fleshing it out. Where mine is like more like my creative skill is like refining. She's like, I can make this more, you know? And they complement each other.
Like you're going back to yin yang, being the grounding and being, that's complementing each other. I like what you said about the stream of consciousness idea, and the idea like the muse and having like something else flow through you. Like, I think I felt that quite powerfully in anything that I have done creatively. It's like, I mentioned to you last night that I'm not really a skilled musician. Like I've just played crummy guitar, taught myself how to get through a couple songs, and same with drums, piano, and things like that. But every now and again, I'll just get into this couples. If it's a minute, maybe it's more. It's something where I'm not playing, and then I'm like, it actually sounds half decent, and I'm like, okay, that wasn't me, type of thing. Like my whatever you want to call it, my subconscious took over, and memory kicked in, and then it just went to a bit of a flow state. I'm not sure, but that's a really interesting concept. I think the idea of like not being almost the one in control, like, and the more you let go of control, the more you allow something to flow through and write for you. I mean,
yeah,
like a lot of music. You said that would have been your
some stuff. Like some of my favorite songs are the songs that are written like that.
Yeah.
That if somebody asked me like, oh, how'd you write that? And like, it came through me. There's also something very beautifully humbling about that. It's like, I did not write that song. I put myself in a seat and I had a pen in my hand, but I didn't write it. It's sort of like, maybe I had a little bit of an idea and some of my education came through and one or two words, but like the concept and the flow, it was a flow. So I have like these tunes that are just like 4 minutes of, again, like that thing has happened to me a few times. That's her lived experience. It's just flow.
I guess like that, it is true, but there's no separation between that experience and kind of the rest of experience, I guess. Because I feel like we are in flow, we're in life. And so to put life through the experience of writing with a pen or playing a guitar, because there's nothing in my head that's saying, oh, this should sound like this, or this should sound like that, or this is my identity. And that's what this sounds like. I experience at the same rate as everyone else. And actually, there is a slight difference when it comes to on the spot creating, because if I'm really in the highest form of flow state, I actually stop making memories. So my identity in a conscious brain ceases to exist, which is quite frustrating because I get the experience of afterwards, people going, wow, that was so cool. And I'm like, what happened? So that can be somewhat frustrating, but I do feel like the idea of saying to someone, this is my song, to me feels very abstract, because I'm like, well, firstly, flow state doesn't feel like you're really crafting, it's more that you're experiencing in the simultaneous inspiration or wherever that comes from. But also it's in the case of English songs, the English teachers who taught you English, the language that you heard from your family. It's an amalgamation of the entire society around you who creates that song. So when you say it's my song, what do you mean? You don't possess language wholly or possess every tone in the guitar. What is it when you say this is my possession?
Yeah.
You're simply borrowing time from something else. Even in the state of your vibrations, they drift off and they'll become part of a tree and whatever else. And the same with your body. If you say that your body is yours, well, you're partly the food that made you and DNA that was handed down from families. And so the notion of identity is something not only that we can point to and name and label and give definite spaces in time, locality, space-time, but also that you would use it to decapitate your flow state by saying, oh, my head is in it, therefore it's, it doesn't exist, it's not good enough.
Yeah, so like any form of attachment is going to be a hindrance to the flow state. You said something really interesting last night, that you almost see like every piece of art that hasn't been created is almost like you're grieving this process.
Oh, well, yes, but I would say the grief that I experience is my sense of ego, because I will be going through life, doing life, like driving or in the grocery store or whatever. And my brain is constantly doing poetry, songs, films, books, whatever. And it's happening all the time. And I have to split my reality to hearing my mind, but also taking in the perceptions around me. And some of the things that happen in my head, I love. And I was saying last night, that experience for me is a consistent experience of trying to remember the face of a childhood best friend who you love dearly, but you can't quite grasp. And that's my experience of grieving ideas that are constantly not having time to be brought into manifestation. So I can never go back to that song that I just wrote because it gets overwritten with whatever the next thing was. But that's kind of my persistent state of grief.
Wow. That's an intense state of creativity. I've never even been around that level. It's inspiring to see that there are people like this trying to catch those salmon in the river.
Totally. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's all amazing. It just means that I like, there's usually on a daily basis, there'll be like a few things that I go, no.
Yeah, I get you. It's like things aren't necessarily invented, they're discovered. Like, even in art.
Yeah, but then I'm absolutely useless when it comes to editing because I'm like, no, it happened. That was a thing. That is my childhood best friend's face and you can't change it because that's just what it was. And I'm not precious about it. It just feels really abstract. Like imagine when Harry says to me, oh, we should edit that. To me, it's as if someone comes up and says, we should edit the face of your childhood best friend. It's like, but it was made that way.
Yeah.
Why? Okay. What?
So raw, whole form, unprocessed.
That's always the thing. It always arrives in my head whole.
Yeah.
If it's a book, it arrives whole. And it takes 7-8 hours, but it will literally whole book goes
like linearly or like, really?
In chronological order.
You don't just get like the plot, like the end.
No, I hear, if there's like dialogue, I'll hear in my head the whole dialogue in their accent, which is sometimes why when I'm writing books, I do write as the accent of the person, the story, the narrative. But that's why sometimes I look a bit bizarre when we're like out for dinner and I'm a bit like...
I was saying that you need really like good dictation technology or something to get it out quick enough, because it's even just, and like whatever that is, like maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's like you just record yourself speaking it out and then you pay me, or I just do it for you. I type it out or something. Just because like it's too slow of a medium to try and write at the amount of stuff that you have in a way, right? So if you then slave over one particular thing for a while, you actually start losing context. So this is why I think this is why you end up not getting to the point of finishing stuff, is because it's like so much stuff came and then you start trying to transcribe it and then you're losing context for the ending.
Totally. Or the majority of it is that I'll start writing something, especially books, And whilst I'm in the process, another book comes and I hear the whole thing, especially on a like 9-hour shift at work. I will get full movies and books, scripts, whatever. It's more annoying when it's a script that's read to you because that's all like, you know, screen directions or whatever. But that happens in my head. And then I just have to sort of arrive back at work, back at home and say, well, I came up with a book idea and that's it. And then it's very difficult to communicate that my mind wrote an entire book in a day. And then I just had to let it go because I was busy. But I think the highest sticky issue we had, not emotionally sticky, but I didn't know how to translate to Harry because I hadn't previously been in a relationship that was allowing creative co-working in the way that our relationship allows for, was that I needed him to make the decisions about what was worth keeping, which was something, if you imagine it's just neutral experience for me, it's just, this is the experience of my day, this thing, and I might like something, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's worth keeping. I was trying to say to Harry what ideas are worth keeping.
Yeah, being the executive decision.
And that means that you have to take time to then translate it into an idea that some other brain can perceive. Because I can't go, listen to my head, this is the symphony I'm hearing.
Okay.
I have to sit there and go, how do I translate 27 instruments now in 2 minutes into something you can perceive and make a decision about? So that was like quite a lot of our first year together. I think we wrote 500
We just wrote so many things together, yeah. And like there's loads of it that hasn't been sifted through because honestly I just ran out of energy to process as much of that information.
My God.
So it's like we need to take 6 months off and just live in a lovely house like this, you know?
Yeah.
And just do that, you know?
You go back to your roots and do the off-grid stuff and just get a microphone, do what the Chili Peppers did, you know, they rented out of the house and recorded Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah, I think that's on the cards in some capacity sometime in the next year for sure.
Hell yeah.
But I think that's a beautiful sense of trauma as well in working with each other, because Harry had the trauma of getting really spun out by my lived experience when we were first together. He was like so uncomfortable with the fact that he would say, okay, write a song, and it would just be there. You found that really difficult. Whereas now you're like, oh, it's such a gift. And for me, it was the other way around. I found it really difficult when he would say, oh, we can change this and make it better. And I'm like, but it exists.
Yeah.
Like, why would we do that? I'm missing other ideas in the process of doing that. So now we've kind of come to a place where we balance each other out, which
How long have you guys been together?
6 years, 5 years, 6 years?
What? 4.5?
No, 5. No, it's 5.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been 5 years.
Somewhere in the middle.
Nearly 5 years.
Very
Nearly
good.
5 years.
Yeah,
Very
5
good.
years in a month.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is heavily inspires the arts is what form of, let's say, spiritual state one is in. Like, what's your views on your existentialism? Like, where did you start from? Where are you now? Type of thing.
My entrance into making from spiritual, so like young Harry had no connection or was very severed from it or didn't recognize a spiritual connection. I can see only now in looking back what was the times where I was in connection, right? My lived experience from teenagehood all the way into my mid-20s was so egocentric, self-absorbed and stuck in just obsession. Yeah, like wanting to be validated by others, looking for approval, flitty kind of jittery energy,
I get you. Yeah.
chameleon energy, jumping between people. But then if I played music, I would sit down at a piano and play some chords. I could get lost in that world in improvisation and just feel, you know, there would be still a tiny bit of a, ooh, look at me kind of feeling it, where I want people to like observe, you know. But actually a large part of the noise in my head went quiet at the moment that I strummed the guitar or played the piano. My brother, who I played in a band with for many years, had the lyricism stuff in our band that we played together in, and I couldn't relate to that at all. My early music connection stuff, even listening to music as an early teen, I'd never really listened to the lyrics. I couldn't connect to it. I was so like into chords and sounds and drums.
A bit more
and
abstract.
Abstract, yeah. I melodies. I loved melodies, but I wasn't really listening to the words. So I'm like a late bloomer with the word stuff. I started eventually in my later teens writing songs, co-writing songs with people, working with older mentors and things like that who kind of pulled the ideas out of me. And every so often, like, I wasn't so flowing with ideas, but I would like raise my hand and be like, oh, what about this? And then that might be like one of the things that helps finish a song. So that was the early years of making music, and then more getting into my 20s, I started doing it a bit more and writing my own things. But I had this kind of fictitious relationship with my brother in this band where he took a lot of ownership of the things, and he would say like he would say it's my song, about something that we very definitely collaborated on and that we worked together on, and that we maybe worked on another person's thing. But he would take an ownership of the song, which I actually I always found that quite jarring, because it was like, well, it would not exist without those two of us making it in that space, And
Hudson Taylor, right?
yeah, it's playing in the band.
Go on.
And then, as that relationship started to sort of deteriorate, and the band started to collapse, I was then writing more songs. And I would bring these songs and I'd say, oh, like, yeah, look at this, check this out. And I'd find those to be getting closer to something like spirit. Yeah, to answer back into your question, like I started to develop a connection to spirit because I started reading self-help books. I read The Power of Now and Michael Singer's what's that one called? These different books anyway. And I had a spiritual awakening in my mid-20s, about 25 years old. I just read these books, and I went really from one day to the next, from being fully identified with the story of Harry and his ego and whatever, to like a white light spiritual experience of like, whoa, I'm bigger, we're bigger, it's bigger, life, meaning, awareness, consciousness, all these. And I had, like, honestly, it was really one day to the next, complete psychic change. My brain changed completely, and that freaked everyone out. Everyone around me, my family, thought I was gone crazy.
I keep saying this anytime anybody kind of relates a similar experience. Yeah, it's a very common theme. It's other people feeling like you're gone nuts.
And then you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
So then from that space, I drove myself to excessive drinking. I had already been drinking enough as it was being in a band, but I got isolated from family and friends who in my understanding didn't understand me. In their defense, I was like quite I got like quite erratic and buzzed, off this new stuff. Like,
new energy,
like, you're bigger than, I was almost like pontificating. Like, have you read this book? I got really obsessive.
Yeah.
And so it freaked them out.
Irish people say notions.
Yeah, Jesus, what's wrong with him?
He has notions.
It freaked me out, and my family, to their credit, for what they were doing was out of care, but they were they basically said, we need to take you in to get help, and they brought me to get evaluated psychologically, all that kind of stuff. This severed my sense of trust, but it then brought me to a new low, like a proper low of like, okay, now I'm getting into too much drinking, sex addiction, just distracting myself, like isolating. And then I found that I needed to get help, so I went to AA. And when I went to AA, I got sober. Then I started writing completely different music, because I started feeling like community, connection, and all the spirituality flood back in. And I got all this new language. I feel like the language of the heart was lacking for me. I didn't have a vocabulary to describe my experience for many, many years. And so when I suddenly had that vocabulary, I wanted to apply it to music. I wanted to apply it to songwriting. So the songs then started being affected by like my relationship to self in a way that wasn't selfishness. It was more about like my relationship to my higher self, to the collective conscious self, to the universal consciousness. Like so suddenly my songs felt for me like I wanted to say again, like going to your thing with my songs, but the songs that I was writing were me attempting to the ineffable. Like say, like I want to say the thing that, you know, the thing about God and consciousness and Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, yin yang, all those things that seem like they're trying to say something like this. Is it something like this? And so all my songs became a bit more of like a question mark of like, is it this or it's this? It's this, and it's like the interplay between your guides or your higher self and your egoic human self, and like that story between those two things. That's what how I have been writing music more recently, to be honest.
Well said. I get that from listening to your stuff. I get this very raw, authentic things that like can almost fit the mold, like we were saying, for the listener, but then out of nowhere it gets really quick, it gets really personal and raw, and it's like, I think it's really authentic like that. There was a moment in last night's gig where you had that almost like real, authentic artistic expression. You like almost put a stop to it all. It took a second, and you started playing again. That was really powerful because it brought in some of that personal stuff. But
yeah, I feel like it's a good battle, right, between the ultimate self, the human, the higher self that is at peace. It's completely totality of everything. It has no problems. It's completely still. It's peaceful. It's serenity. It's the most honest and open and beautiful thing. It's energy itself. It's the universe. That's fucking great. There's nothing wrong there. It's when you become condensed into a human that you're in this human form that's really difficult.
the heaviness.
The heaviness of it, and that higher self sort of is the holder. It's like hey, it's okay, buddy. And the human's like, fuck, it's so crazy here. I feel like certainly what I'm trying to do with my songwriting and storytelling is like to bring that together, yeah, and like show that it is that you're okay, kind of thing. Like you ultimately like, hey, just remember, like, this is just a bit of crack. Like being a human is supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be challenging. Like, you know, like you signed up for this
Yeah.
stuff. You know, the stuff that we common things that we listen to, like that. A lot of that stuff feels so natural to me. Like, yes, I signed up to be here.
That's it. The school, Earth School of Consciousness Development, right?
Yeah.
We're in the simulator, and it's here to speed up the process of developing our consciousness, which took me a long time to kind of really, like when I first heard that idea, I was like, no way, come on, why would we choose the suffering so much? It took me a long time to come around to why it would be a good thing. Like, as you realize after you get through some of the trials and tribulations that, oh, I'm actually better off for it in this weird way. So it's like, maybe that's what this whole thing
Not
is about.
just but the collective experience of like every little thing that you go through or anyone around you goes through.
Society.
Or society goes through. We're all picking up this data and this information that we can process and feel and emote with. But our totality, our higher self, it's everything already. So it doesn't need it. It's like a human experience. You get to experience love and joy and grief and pain and excitement and laughter and all these things. Yeah. What's your read on this kind of stuff, and what's your connection to the consciousness and spirituality and songwriting?
Well, I'd say on that specific point, before like going into the spirituality, I really see being embodied as a very silly thing for the spirit to do, because it's so high entropy. It takes so much energy and so much effort to make a human body work. It is a remarkably silly thing to do. So I find it funny. I'm like, you being in a flesh bag is silly and stupid and cute. So for me, the concept of spirit making bodies, I'm like, well, you get to go through sadness, because all of these things are the movement of energy. So if you feel so moved by a thought that you feel painfully sad, it's a remarkable thing for the spirit to do, because that requires so much energy to shift all of that endocrine system and energetic system to make that feeling. So the way that I see all of these things is kind of like big paintings, because you can have Francis Bacon, who does all these very like sad, angry paintings. And then you also have Monet doing very colorful, like, joyous paintings. And all of those things you are deciding, or I am in this situation, deciding what the emotions are attached to it. Ultimately, it's just movements of energy. And so if I were to talk to you from perhaps a spiritual perspective, it would be energy has moved energy at a time and space that it's self-identified. And that applies to everything. And then it's humans who go, meaning, put that into boxes of words, sad energy at this point, in this part, we've decided this is a border we call Ireland, okay, in this land, at this time, in this time zone. So we are the ones who are making that narrative. But you can consistently go back into spirit, which is just energy is moving energy.
It's this raw but chaotic potential almost.
Exactly. So for me, the dance of definition, dance of saying, I am sad now, that is all oil painting that I'm putting on a canvas that I've decided exists and this kind of thing. So,
which is why narratives, like self-narratives, are so important of how we see ourselves and stuff.
Yeah, and it makes no sense. If you dropped into a coma, well, that disappears. It only exists by your holding on to it. But I think actually I came to a different form of spirituality, a more formed version of spirituality through Harry. Because before Harry, I existed in quite a cerebral state with not very much comparison socially. I grew up with a lot of alone time surrounded by adults, which meant that I wasn't comparing myself to them. I was reading the OED and going, ooh, interesting words. So I didn't have the situation of I've got to be cool and define myself in this way, and that I just didn't really have that. I was like, butterfly, I wonder how it flies. Let me figure that out in my head. Or
a very cerebral experience. Yeah.
So a lot of like staring at things and going, can I take that apart in my head and put it back together? That was kind of my experience. And I think that the spirituality connection for me was that because I had less comparison being to being, it meant that I felt much more connected to my surroundings. So when I saw a piece of fruit that was going off, I would also, even as a toddler, be thinking, oh, my heart must go off when it gets old. And so I would imagine my heart going moldy in my chest and going, that must be what it's like to be old. So my brain very much operated in a space that had less distinction between
separation,
fruit, human, tiling on a wall breaking and bone breaking. Like there was much more interlinking. Whereas when I met Harry and he took me through his process of definition and the definitions he'd let go of to become more spiritually open, it introduced me to them. So then I had to go through the experience of going, oh, what is my comfort zone? When am I uncomfortable? What does Seraphina like and not like? How do I define myself? And I've become someone who has more preferences and comfort zones and discomfort and this kind of thing through being with someone who's breaking open spiritually, because it's then brought me into, how do I feel in this space? Am I comfortable? Am I not? Whereas before I would just be like, I'm existing. And there was less questioning around it. So because I've been brought into that questioning language, it's made me then go questioning and go, oh, actually, no, I'm uncomfortable here. And it's been really amazing to see how vastly different two people can be and be so complementary.
Yeah.
Because it's simply the commitment to going, oh, I see your experience and I'm with you and I understand it, that makes us both go, and it's okay to be completely out of one's comfort zone. Even in the recognition that I have gone from a place of being, I wouldn't even think about comfort at all, to going, I'm completely out of my comfort zone and it's okay.
Recognizing
I'm in a communal experience.
So where were you at like 5 BH?
Before Harry.
Sorry.
Acid base? What are we talking here?
5 before Harry's.
I'm only joking. It's just like the way you said that before. It's like before Christ, you know? Like,
What?
the year 5 BH.
So would that be like at 21? I was like the full nomad. I was like traveling around South America with a backpack and nothing else going, I need no possessions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty off the deep end, which is not how our industry works. Our industry works on you being someone definable with a great brand who people like hanging out with. And our biggest journey with this is that I will happily go to a party with a book and sit on the stairs and going, I'm not interested in a conversation with you right now. Yeah. I don't need to be friends with you. Yeah. And when we first got together, he was like, how can you be comfortable saying that to someone? I'm like, well, it's not personal, And he's like, well, it's very personal if you say to someone, I don't like you. But I'm like, but it's not me saying you are unlikable. It's me saying currently under the circumstances of existence, this energy and that energy are not quite aligning. So, so
you got good, strong boundaries and you don't have the awkwardness of Irish repressed shame and guilt.
Yeah, it's true. It's we're very tied up to one another.
People pleasers.
Yeah.
People pleasers.
I have to say, it's the indirect language I really struggle with because I will take you.
You've been living in Germany for too long.
Yeah, I have been living in Germany, and German is my work language. But it's when the Irish say things, like for example, let's go for coffee. I will say, when and where. And once you've told me when and where, I will show up, and I don't understand why people need to reconfirm.
Like just to check in to see are we still good for that time?
What I mean, have you gone off since then? Yeah. Like, why would you not be there?
Let's go for coffee. It's just like, at some point we will maybe, like it's very passive often,
The logic of that statement makes no sense. Why not just say, I like this time and space with you? That makes more sense to me. If you say, let's go for coffee, it's like you're trying to compliment a moment that we're both in. For what? I don't need reconfirming that this is enjoyable.
So I'm getting the sense that you're a very direct person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm getting the sense. So it almost seems like...
Is it German or is it autistic?
Well, are they different?
Are they different? You see, that's a funny meme. It's a great meme. It's like a book. It's actually a book. It's like literally, the question is like, is it German or is it autistic? And then it has like a statement, and it's like, damn it, those are the same thing.
Yeah.
Gosh. No, it seems like, that's like almost forming in, like, since you've met Harry, it seems like almost like building up your own ego. Like, you seem...
Yeah, I made her have an ego.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Well, like...
But it's like the balance, yin yang thing.
Yeah, but you kind of need, in order to get through the world, you kind of need an ego.
Yeah.
Like...
Absolutely. We talked about this from day one of, in order to make... You used to say this all the time, that in order to make my experience translatable, I have to experience it outside of my openness. So I have to go into the box of human language, and then that's the language I can communicate with.
Because especially like when we talk about spirituality in terms of like your connection to source, meaning the place you go or can connect to when you do things like meditate or breath work, or you just go into a presence flow state. Yeah. All that stuff anyway, even as I'm trying to speak about it, it's already like baffle. It's already like waffly kind of words. It means nothing. Yeah. It's so hard to translate oneness into words. And like and to bring it back into creativity, like that's kind of what creativity is in my mind. It's like trying. It's like trying to F the ineffable. It's trying to make what is impossible to describe in words. That's like the whole fun. That's the fun of it. That's the fun of poetry, of art, of everything. It's like, how do we distill the awe and wonder of creation into like a little snippet and just like try to say something about it?
Yeah. That's so funny. I find that creativity is the opposite of trying. It's when you've just gone, I'm not going to try and show up at work. I'm not going to try and be social. I'm just going to let the crap that's going on in my head exist somewhere other than my head.
That's a great point.
That comes from a perspective of someone who's able to just let's say, muscle memory kick in. Because like you have to have some form of like skill base or structured order of knowledge. Like piano keys, like they're, it's not just pure chaos. They're actual specific things that your muscles need to know. In order to be in the flow state, you gotta train your muscles, right?
I definitely...
There are some exceptions, because isn't there like just random people who are just born and... they're like an old soul that's just landed in a body and they just can immediately play it.
No, sure. Yeah, and it seems like you're definitely in that category of looking at...
Well, I think living is an... I mean, Oscar Wilde said that living is an art. like living well is an artwork. And I do kind of agree with that. Of if you're in a flow state permanently, then there is no difference between writing a song and brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
They're the same experience. And it's just a case of stripping back all of the thought so that you're in the subtlest form of self. So you're just experiencing the inner inspiration
Yeah.
in the same level of potency, whether you're brushing your teeth or, and we were talking about this with your dog, of like, how much life do you experience in ratio to species? If you have a species who lives for a very short period of time, but they experience things at a higher frame rate or with more sensitivity to sensory experience. If you decide tomorrow, I'm going to have a whole day of being entirely engaged with my sensory experience, every sense all at once, that becomes an art form. You don't need to express it. Why does art always need expression? You are living it, you are making it.
Yeah.
But what would you say about the person who's trying to, day one, is trying to start learn an instrument? Like,
Don't try.
that's the thing.
No, but like, you just gotta be. You just gotta feel it, But yeah.
Actually, the musician, the guy who was playing last night, he came up to me and he was asking me about this, about how do you start songwriting? And I said, when I'm working with someone else, because I don't try and translate my experience into language because I find that very hodgepodge. I get them to hum in resonance with different parts of their body. So if you say, just make sound and then change it as you move your hand through your body. So if they're like, ah, they'll kind of make sounds and then you get them to resonate with themselves. You record it, play it back, make a harmony on top of it. Then you find the sound that they feel is their body. And then you get them to talk about feelings, what they're going through, where they've been, how they feel now, where they want to be.
That's really cool.
That's kind of the beginning place I like to write from.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very intuitive.
No resistance to their self. You don't want to be saying, no, your ego doesn't exist, we're going to write a song about this thing. You say, okay, what is your ego? What does it sound like?
Yeah, that's really powerful. Never even heard of something like that. So
that's how I would say you learn an instrument. I can't play instruments in the categorical sense, but I will play them through the sense of playing with them.
Yeah.
So I perform on stage with the guitar.
That's really interesting because I always struggled to learn music like in the conventional sense, theory and stuff. And when I did play, it would be always just around a certain key or certain melody. Like it's obviously me not expanding out, but I'd always resort to this one type of tone, this type of mood would always just come out of me now. So when that kind of resonated when you said like, what's your frequency? Like, why do I keep returning to that? Is it because I'm not like, I'm too lazy to go and learn more? But no, it's more of a feeling thing. I like to go on the piano and it's like a couple of chords I play and then like I really, really, really feel those chords. And it's the same with the guitar.
We use this language all the time that resonates with me. It's like you are saying that. What does that mean? It means you are getting into a frequency with that line of thinking that feels synced, is locked in. Your wave-like thing is going like, oh, I like that wave, and I like the dance of words you're putting together there. I like the feeling of that.
Well,
Chimes,
it's the same with language.
chimes. Like we have all these words that are describing like your experience of sound.
Yeah.
Or wave like experience. Like it resonates with me. It chimes with me.
Yeah.
Can I share something I'm remarkably uneducated on and that would be grappling from the abstract? Okay, there's a language around a volcanic region somewhere like, I'm not even going to pretend to know, but it's around. So their language has a lot of ka and pa, and these sounds that reflect through the environment.
Is it one of the Hawaiian
Something like that. But it doesn't cause avalanches. So it resonates. They've created a language that is totally sonically appropriate to their environment, but all languages are the same. So if you think about the cold countries, like the north of Germany, we're going to perhaps keep our mouths a little bit closed because we don't want to let the cold air in. Whereas in America, where it's really hot, we're going to be aerating our mouths.
Oh, this thing,
And then the same with like the throat singing comes from countries where you have less population. So you're singing through forested regions, but trying to communicate with someone very far away. So if I'm going to use the most resonant form of singing, it's appropriate to the surrounding. And I think it's the same with music in our physical surrounding. All matter has resonant form. So when we are in a state where, for example, if I sing, I'm going to feel it in my chest.
Yeah.
And I'm going to really connect with that sound. We all have those resonances. So your physical matter is going to dictate what resonances feel good.
Yeah.
So there will be a tone that feels good in your body.
Yeah.
And that might be whatever you're returning to.
Yeah.
And I think it's always appropriate to the environment. So if you're in a situation where you have lots and lots of trees around, you'll probably make different sounds to if it's just flat, dry desert. And similarly, if you are very, very hydrated, you'll make a different sound to when you're dehydrated.
Yes, or if you're interested in sound and architecture, you might decide to build a cathedral not because you want to worship a god, but because you know how powerful sound is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's build a giant enclosed space like those caves that we sing in. Like I love this stuff that's being uncovered now at the moment around like maybe our ancestors had technologies that were perhaps are shielded from our understanding now, but they would create spaces, or they would use spaces, and they would use chant and singing and things like that to activate their nervous systems in a certain way, or they could do all sorts of alchemizing stuff with sound.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely fascinated by that. I love like this
sound architecture.
Synamics. Is that what it's called? Synamics, or it's this thing of the study of like sound and how it affects
Geometry.
Yeah, cymatics. I think it's called
Cymatics. Yeah,
So
that
you have like
sounds
these
right.
like these plates.
Yes.
A flat plate, vibrating plate with sand on it,
Yes.
and then you change the tones, and you get like you see all this like the geometry.
Geometries,
You see it
yeah.
on a 2D space. You see what a 2D it kind of looks like, but like that's happening in 3D. And the most like every time I'm speaking, the sound waves between us and the microphones, it's creating these like whoa, like
That is a wild topic and a rabbit hole to go down to. Is like the idea of sacred geometry and its link to everything that we do. Like even forget the name of the Japanese scientist who studied water and the molecular structure of water, and like if the intent that you can pray on water, and then they did like pictures of the molecular structure, and it will be like if you said it's something really like terrible, it would show up as a really ugly like non-aesthetic image, but then the more loving frequencies you give it, it's just more
similarly the woman who says nice things into water, or says an image, or thinks certain things, and then she freezes it.
I have been freezing water to a specific stage for the last 14 years. I freeze the water at the stage between liquid and ice, so it is not exactly a solid. I'm able to see an energetic imprint of the influence, which we call crystallography.
And it creates these like
yes I
shapes
saw
and
that.
patterns. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just
and we're 90% water or 99% water or something. So
Maybe 75% water. Well, I mean, it obviously depends on how much liquid you've taken in for that day. But can I share something with you which may excite you?
Okay.
My tinnitus has gone.
What now?
No, I just realised when we were leaving the city, I forgot to say that as we were leaving the city, my tinnitus was getting like quieter and quieter.
Yeah.
you hear that, folks? Leave the cities.
Yeah.
EMF soup. Just 1 second. Check the time.
I think we're at 57 minutes, so probably we should wrap it up, eh?
I entirely forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah. Bye, people.
It's the for me.
Just focus on you. Yeah, that's where it should be.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it was a good conversation anyway. So I could talk to you guys for freaking hours. It is a pity I have to go to work. You're going to come. You're going to check out the sauna place I work at.
We can always continue this conversation in the car.
Well, there you go now.
We've got these microphones on. We can just have like the after chats and just leave them on, and maybe I'll catch them their bit or something.
What's sonic B-roll? Is there a word for that?
Well, it could be, yeah.
Sonic B-roll. That's a nice name of a band.
Right, we're Sonic B-roll, and this is our song, Wavelengths.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, shoot.
Through your creative processes of going through trauma that aren't to do with a very defined form of art, how do you think you've creatively dealt with trauma and processed it?
Good question. Like I said, I wasn't very, I didn't teach myself in depth of any skill, so I'd always find my creative side of me very, very abstract. Like anything I ever created was just this like blobs of different tones and suggestive moods and stuff like this. I guess why, you can break down philosophy in a couple of different areas, but one of the pillars of it is the aesthetics, and like that's a big. I value aesthetics a lot, even just like because I guess you can be as vague as possible, but you can live a life of trying to, I don't know, search for the beauty in everything through the lens of what's aesthetic. Both music, like that's why I have a very kind of wide range of different interests when it comes to art. It's not like one specific genre or whatever. I could be listening to whatever the beauty is in, I'll find it and I'll be like, I'll lock onto that. So don't know if that answers any question, but are you asking me through the creative process, like what?
Kind of like, how do you create more time for yourself in connection to others or your alone time? So like, do you cook more for yourself, or do you feel that you slow down in conversation with others? Or do you feel you listen more in your garden? Like, how do you create freedom and existence through trauma?
I guess
Like using your story or using the things you're going through, is that? Yeah.
I guess I see life as a bit of a story, so tapping into that creative well of where you want to go, how to kind of using the experiences of the past to empower you going forward. So that could be in the little things of life, and kind of a mantra I always go back to is it's almost like my responsibility now that I've kind of gone over some of the darker days to try to be a light as much as possible in the dark, wherever that may be. So something, again, very abstract stuff, vague things, but like in the little things to life, in life, whether it be meeting strangers, meeting customers coming into business, it's like, how can I make this? Now it also could be just me completely being a people pleaser, but trying to bring out the light in someone as much as possible. I think that is the ultimate goal in my little journey of like, I've always thought that I could befriend all different types of people. And even in some of the, let's say, more troubled people I've met, I'll always try and look for that in them and then bring that out, try like fan that flame. So I guess that...
Do you befriend all different types of yourself?
I have done recently. That's why I'm big into Carl Jung, the integrating all parts of your psyche, and the importance of that, or else you're just neglecting and fractionating your psyche.
Mm-hmm. Is that like a conscious connection that you're creating, or it's just something that you feel naturally happens?
Good. Well, actually, I can answer your question a bit better. So automatic writing or automatic drawing, something I got into years ago. And so every now and again, I'll touch base with that. And journaling, I journal quite often. And it will start off being like, as if you're talking to someone, but then something happens throughout it where it kind of like something that you didn't know came out. And then you identify that as some fractionated part that you now recognize, and you validate and integrate. To not shun it or shame it or whatever. Like I have a very I'll show you. I have it only here. Used to keep this copybook, and I did this is years ago, and I think I drew, well, at the time what my shadow was, and was very ugly because I had a very unintegrated dark part of me that went unlived. So yeah, that's again very vague kind of suffering.
Beautiful. Very like French Renaissance.
I'm glad you can label it. I haven't been able to label it. So.
You know, like a jester in French court. Do you see what I mean with like plumes of feathers and?
Yeah, I get you.
Interesting, yeah.
Well, actually, this is crap here. Hold on.
So this is one of the tools for processing, eh?
Yeah.
But also just, getting out of...
Just, pure venting. Like, again, I haven't done too much of it in recent times in terms of drawing. I'm trying to find something else. Bear with me.
Thank you for sharing it.
So, the picture I have of my YouTube emblem or whatever is a self-drawing I did, automatic writing thing. It just started off, and then I kind of always identified that as my shadow that needed to be integrating. That's what this whole journey is about on YouTube, is trying to publicly integrate that as much as possible and share some of the uncomfortable stuff that most people don't want to talk about into the world. So that was my thing. Is like, so that's my.
That's so beautiful.
That's beautiful, yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. I think I did it when I was like 20, something like that. Yeah, 2020 there. So.
Beautiful. Wow, you have
Thank
real
you.
talent.
Thank you. But I mean, yeah. So that's where it all started. That's my whole YouTube little emblem of Erologos.
Nice, man.
Eros and logos, combining those two. The Jungian integration of because a lot of this stuff had to do with sexual integration, which is uncomfortable to talk about. Hell uncomfortable. So,
Again, I'm like, is it?
Let's wrap up with the promised thing that we said. You know, if you've been watching from the very start, Seraphina has an incredible party trick that we pull out every now and again. I say we. It's usually me putting you on the spot, and I'm sorry. I publicly want to just apologize. No? Okay, this is great. She's a freestyle poet. And so if you just give her 3 words, she can turn those 3 words into a fully formed poem. And so because it's your podcast, I feel like you need to offer us 3 words. They can be anything from our conversation, from life, from whatever you want.
Put me in the spot here. I need to sound profound. I'll keep it simple and topical for what we're talking about. One of them was geometry. We talked about that. Potential.
Mm-hmm.
Roots.
Geometry, potential roots. Geometry, potential roots. Geometry, potential roots. I have to get it into the muscle memory of my mouth because I feel like I don't think when I do it. So it has to be in the muscles of my mouth, otherwise those words will disappear. Geometry, potential roots. Okay. Geometry, potential roots. Geometry, potential roots. Okay. Geometry, potential roots. Life is a symphony of asymmetry. We as humans fight for the words, the definitions, the geometry of thoughts, and yet our surroundings comply to no aughts of our mind. We want this artistry to be well defined, and yet its potential is a spot to which we are blind. It expands beyond the edges of our mind. It exists somewhere beyond all which we can call mine. It is painted in oils that we cannot ever touch because the sensory system would simply find them too much. No, these broad colours are far beyond that which we cut out to stick in the book of our story. These are blossomings, the same geometry painted on open wings, flapping half forever unseen, closed to the mind that lives in anything other than dreams. No, these have the potential, perpetual potential of seeds. They are planted in the root that exists beyond the me. So take your roots, my dear, lovely, unformed false identity, and expand open beyond notions of geometry to that which is the highest potency, the unformed, uncertain potential of the not me.
Wow. What just happened? What just happened? Okay, there is another realm. It's right there. We just have to tap into it. Evidence 101. That is pure example of just getting out of the way. Beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful.
Erologos.
Hell yeah. Can I say, do you remember? Do you like, that is a memory, you can remember what you kind of said, or?
No, I feel quite dizzy, but I remember going geometry, potential roots, beyond geometry, potential roots.
That was really special. Thank you for doing that, and thank you for pushing for that. Amazing stuff. Holy shit. Amazing. Well, what a way to end it. So, guys, thanks a mil for coming on. I'm sure everybody will love everything you got to say, and we should absolutely do it again if you're up for it. Hopefully.
Thank you for holding space for us all this time.
Yes, we were in Ben's house and he invited us here, and it's been a lovely. Thank you for looking after us, man.
Ah, come on.
Yeah.
Right. Well, until the next time, guys.
Thank you.
Sweet.
So, Harry mentioned that you do some. Is it a history podcast or something? Or
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel.
You do?
History YouTube channel, yeah.
what's the name of
Thinking Thursdays.
it? Thinking Thursday.
Maybe we could film your Thinking Thursday right now.
Oh yeah.
Like not right now, but when he's heating up the sauna.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What's the concept of your Thinking Thursday, Seraphina?
I researched like 5 different people last week, and I don't know who I want to focus on, but then I got really into Eve Fairfax, who was an actress from the middle of the 1800s to the early 1900s. She was really interesting, but I found loads of people I'm interested in. Like, I think I would have to hone in on one. Yeah, history is full of really interesting people who never really got their time to shine. So that's what I try and focus on. I try and avoid people who, have. It's basically anyone who's a household name. I try and stay away from. One of the people that I was thinking about doing is Virginia Woolf's mum, because she was actually one of the main models for female photographer who was one of the first female photographers in the UK, Julia Margaret Cameron, who was extremely good. She manages to capture, she did portraiture, but it was like super emotional portraiture, but she was doing artistic portraiture, which is something that we see less and less nowadays. So things of girls, it's like, it doesn't become an emotional space at all. It becomes a space of, I don't understand. And then it's like this thing of I become like a robot, where I'm just like, what? I don't understand what you mean. The logic of your statement doesn't correlate to actions. Please redefine. And I'll just be kind of in robot mode of going, please redefine, tell me what you mean, because I don't understand. So if for example, with someone being like, oh, let's go for coffee, and then they don't show up, I'm like, why? This doesn't make any sense. Or if someone says, oh, I'm gonna, I don't know, same thing as like, oh, I'm gonna make a podcast, and then they don't do it, I'm missing all the information of the decision making that went on between that thing. So I just kind of, I don't know, like I guess in my head I feel like my way of thinking is much simpler.
Yeah.
Because,
It definitely sounds like it. But
yeah, because I'm just like, you do the things that you say you will do. And if it means that you get home from work at 1 in the morning and then you stay up until 5 to do the thing that you said you do, you simply do it. But for other people, they're like, God, that's so busy and complicated. I'm like,
But did your brain do that when I just said there that I couldn't meet my weekly schedule?
my brain will, so what my brain does is it will list off all the potential hypotheticals of why, and then it will go, error code has no preferencing what's valid. So then I just go, I don't understand.
What number is the error code?
404.
Or a fuck off. That's what it is. It's like missing information. It's finished. My experience with it is done. So I don't really care anymore. Whereas like Harry is like, no, now this has to be packaged in a way that's digestible to the rest of the world. And that's amazing. But it's the thing that I find really difficult to engage with, because I'm like, but I don't really care about how many people see this or whether they like it.
Who originally was called Sydney Owenson, and she was the daughter of an Irish Catholic and an English Protestant. So her father was Robert Owenson, and he was a comic actor who lived in England, in London, and worked as an actor, but he was actually Irish, and he was Irish Catholic. And then while he lived in London, he met Jane Hill, who was
The daughter of a Shrewsbury trader, and she was a Protestant. And once they got together, they actually moved to Ireland, and they lived in Dublin, and they moved in 1776. And then in 1778, they had Sydney.
I'm gonna say one.